Alright, I am back doing a review of the 3.2 quest this time. I actually made sure to stream my playthrough this time, but I still feel like making this video. Initially I made my first review because I didn't stream my 3.1 playthrough, but then I just realized I liked it making my last review, so I was like, why not do it again? And honestly, I might just do this from every patch from now on because I just like talking about wuwa. But just a disclaimer, I am going to yap a lot this video. I hope I will actually have everything I want to say properly this time. Because last review, I watching it back, I realized there are a lot of things that I think I left out and wanted to say, but I didn't. And I think I just badly worded a lot of things as well. So, yeah. I have no clue how long this review will be. This quest was fairly shorter than 3.1, but I feel like I have quite a bit to say, especially with how I feel about it, which we will get to. But once again, if you do enjoy my yapping, then thank you. I really do appreciate it. But that's enough of an intro segment. Let's just get on with the quest. So, what do I think of 3.2? I think I should start off right off the bat. I was not the biggest fan of 3.2. Like if the 3.1 first half was SS tier, then I think 3.2 would be like B tier, maybe even C tier. And I've had like a week for this opinion to simmer, and I don't think it's really changed. I might get some hate for that, but I was kind of let down for what I was looking for in this quest. And what I mean by that is that it just didn't have the vibe of a main story quest. And what exactly do I mean by that? So like, to fit what I would consider to be an MSQ, it has to largely pertain to the central focus of an arc, and those are currently opening the Strider Gate, defeating the Threnodian, and now saving Imeth. Another criteria that would fall under being MSQ worthy is if it focuses a ton on the rover and his characterization. So I think a good example of this is the 2.5 for Lova quest, for example. But maybe for early quest in wuwa, I wouldn't factor this for being an MSQ, because back in the day, Rover was just like, he was kind of just a self-insert, right? He just aura farms, he gathers some Ys, like, let's be honest, that's all it was. But more recently, it is obvious that the writers just want Rover to become an actual character, and I think that's a really good thing. Because at the end of the day, Rover is the central main character of Wuthering Waves, so like, they should be developed. But this is why I consider saving Imeth now as a central focus, even though that's not how Lahai Roy started, because it massively impacted Rover during 3.1. So anything like that, I would consider having the vibe of an MSQ. And even the Luke Segway quest is another example of a good MSQ, which I haven't even talked about that quest. This is supposed to be a okay. This is supposed to be a video of 3.2, but I kind of want to glaze that quest for a second. So like, I should mention that I really like that quest. That segue would probably go in like S tier for me, right below the first half of 3.1. It was short and sweet, included what it needed to. It had the Grand Architect, and then it was largely about Rover's inner turmoil after the events in the 3.1 first half. But like, I'm not gonna lie, I got a bit teary-eyed. I hate to admit that, but like I said in my first video, I get emotional really easily because of music, and that fucking song, man, as well as the metaphor of candy for numbing Rover's pain, like it was a good quest to follow up 3.1 first half. But okay, that was a really long tangent. Sorry, back to 3.2. To me, this quest was just a glorified Sugrika event quest. Like, the narrative of this quest is mainly about the frequency of this, like, mystery that's happening in the dark side of the academy, which by the end, it's revealed to not really be related to any of the criteria that I mentioned before. I don't know, man, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the events of this quest will end up being vital to the future plotlines in this arc, but for the time being, I feel like all we really got out of 3.2 is that the revelation that Denia is indeed the Fraxidus spy. And I think, I don't know, even I might have misunderstood that as well. Maybe she's under control, but it seems like the Praxis this quest was more just observing us than actually being directly involved. And the only part I got where they actually did appear was when Denia was like spying on us at the end. Um, Anyways, setting aside the fact that I didn't feel like it was an MSQ, I actually thought the narrative itself was it was actually not bad. Like I was engaged with the mystery of the premise and wondering who was messing with the festival. But I thought Sigrika's characterization and development was actually really well done as well. Especially like tying in with the theme of that quest. Um I feel like the themes were mainly about like choices made out of obligation and expectations versus personal desire and all that stuff. I do feel like it was objectively pretty good. I will admit though that like I was pretty disappointed once the perpetrator was finally revealed. Like it turns out it was just like a manifestation of Sigrika's negative emotions and like insecurities. I don't know. I thought it was kind of lame and over like it's like an overdone cliche. Like I swear I've seen that done over and over again. But I guess looking back, it did make sense with the foreshadowing of the riddles and stuff. But I honestly thought the perpetrator would have been more like the Grand Architect or an Overseer because, I mean, okay, someone can correct me like in the comments, but like I feel like it'd make more sense to be for it to be one of those people, right? Like it would have created a personal connection and reason for Sigrika to be against the Fraxidus in the future, like Luke has. And now she's probably just gonna become like this irrelevant character after this quest. Maybe she'll show up at the end, at the climax of this arc. But I could be wrong about that too, though, considering at the end of the quest, Sigrika still isn't aware that her friends, Nivora and Denia, they have their real identities, and then she'll finally find out, like, and be like, "Fuck the Fraxis." I don't know. Maybe that will happen next patch. At the time being, though, anyways, yeah, I don't know. Even though I was let down by the reveal of the main antagonist, that isn't really what made me dislike the quest. No. That is because of the side quest. This quest, like, I'm sorry, but those are genuinely what made me rate this quest so low. It's because like they force you to do them several times in the middle of the quest, and they took me out so badly. Like I think I remember during my playthrough, you could see my reaction to finding out I had to do more of them, and I just looked so miserable. I think I recall that. But like when I'm experiencing a story, I prefer it to be concise and for every moment to have a purpose to the narrative, and that's one of the reasons I love 3.1 because everything in that quest had the reason to develop the plot and characters. But in this quest, what exactly like what do the majority of these side quests add? Like if you remove these side quests, is the narrative affected in any way? Like, does eating lunch with Lene or waffles with Luke impact the central plot of the character arc at hand at all? Like, the only exception to this were the Sigrika side quests, because those actually fit with the conflicts that she was going through during the main quest. Holy fuck, I'm talking so much. Sorry, water break. Alright, sorry, where was I? Right. I want to specify that my problem is not about the actual content in these side quests. Like, I think I would have enjoyed them, but only after the MSQ is finished. Like, not during the middle of it, where they were hindering my progress about learning what was going on. But once again, this is just my opinion. Like, I'm aware that these side quests technically weren't even a part of the MSQ. They were technically, if I recall, they're event quest. So I feel like maybe they shouldn't even be associated with the MSQ, but to that point, your progress in the MSQ is still halted by them. And I also understand that like some people might have liked the fact that these were added, sort of like as breathers, just to fill in the quest and slow it down. But that's just not what I'm looking for in a story. Like, it's just not what I prefer, and I don't. What the fuck am I saying? But like I prefer a story that is like not bloated by all of that. I want like I want to have a thoughtful reason for every scene included. Like, but you know what? If someone can find an argument for why eating waffles with Luke was crucial to the plot, then you know what? Please just comment it down below. Despite all of that, all this criticism about the side quest, I did appreciate that there were multiple characters interacting in this quest. Um, it's a bit of a problem that wuwa has, where it's like usually just Rover and one character. But if I recall correctly, every Lahai Roy character, even like besides Imeth, showed up. Yeah, fuck. Sorry, I got PTSD. Lucila's involvement in this quest was enjoyable, and the inclusion of Chisa, even with a minor role, was a nice touch. But anyways, the that point's over. The last gripe I had with this quest, and it's a very subjective gripe. I'm not really sure how to exactly describe this issue, but it's like the quest was more gamey than cinematic, and I'm talking about like the ratio of gameplay to cutscenes during that quest. And now I'm sure like some people are like, "What? You're playing a game? Why would you not want more gameplay?" But I think this is an issue with all gacha games where the gameplay during quest just isn't very engaging and interesting. Like I'd rather just watch cutscenes. Like most of the time in these gacha stories, it's just running through an area clearing generic mobs, and they don't really pose a threat. You could literally just get by mashing. But like I feel like the exception to this is when there's a new boss fight, because it is like a unique first time experience where you will probably see some like cool moves, and then you'll get a banger song. At least that's how it is for wuwa. But like going back to 3.1, and I can see some people getting tired of me comparing it, but like I'm sorry, it really is the pinnacle of gacha storytelling. Like it's why I'm so critical of 3.2, because 3.1 has just raised my bar so high, and like it's just like my standard of expectation is so much higher now. Anyways, I think 3.1 had the perfect distribution of cutscenes to gameplay. It was like I think it was like an 80-20 ratio, just going off of like my experience. And for 3.2, it was like 60% cutscenes, 40% gameplay. And the problem for me is that it was just too much of the boring gameplay. Like a lot of it was just running around the dark side killing standard enemies, and then you combine that with the abrupt side quest, and it just really decreased my immersion. And again, you just compare this to 3.1 first half, and like the only gameplay in that was going through the space station, fighting the nameless astronaut guy, and then you get this amazing boss fight with Sigilum, and that's basically all the gameplay there was in the 3.1 quest. I think I remember one part where you were riding the motorcycle like in that scene, but yeah, that's basically it. And for the most part, that was like it was good gameplay. And again, I feel like I have to keep reiterating this, but it's just my opinion. Like wuwa has just gotten to the point for me where I feel like I'm experiencing a quest as a film rather than playing a story in a game. If you guys understand that, like, but this also goes to my next point, and that's just that wuwa has like just spoiled us too hard with the visuals and presentation. Like they are so consistent with delivering such expressive and visually interesting cutscenes, like, and on a 6-week basis. I don't know how they do it, because it's like 2 quests per patch. But what's crazy to me is that I feel like they're still improving. Like it has gotten to a point where I genuinely can't tell if a cutscene is a pre-rendered cut-in or if it's actually being rendered real time. Like if that isn't a testament to how good they are and why I just want cutscenes over gameplay now, then I don't know what to say. And remember, I'm talking about real-time cutscenes on top of pre-rendered cut-ins. But anyways, there was this one cutscene during 3.2 that was like really psychedelic, and I was like, is this pre-rendered or is this real-time? Like, and I'm not gonna lie, one of the reasons why it's become harder to differentiate them is because the devs just added this one incredible quality of life feature this patch, and that is the UI now fades during cutscenes. Like, I don't think they mentioned this during the live stream, but it's just such a simple but effective quality of life. Like when I first saw it in the game, I just lost my shit. Like it actually improves the immersion in like a cutscene so much. And now I've been thinking, And I've been imagining like if they added this in 3.1, I've genuinely thought about making a new account just to experience 3.1 again with the QOL change. It's just such a good feature. But I think that's basically all my main reasons that I wanted to talk about in this review. Let's see. The only thing I haven't discussed is the music, but like, do I even need to talk about it at this point? Like, it's wuwa. When was the last time a wuwa patch had bad music? Like, the music in the cutscenes in 3.2 impacted me nowhere near as hard as like 3.1. But like, when there was a new track, it definitely caught my attention. I was like, "Ooh, a new track!" But anyways, to conclude this video, I feel like I've been critical a lot about the quest for the majority of it, but I do want to end this video on a hopeful note. I think we can agree this quest was definitely a drop in quality, designed more to just let us breathe after everything that went down in 3.1. But I criticize this quest a lot, and it's probably delusional of me to think that every quest can be the level of 3.1. But you know, if every once in a while we get a quest as good as 3.1, then I'm satisfied. Because like, you know, back in when 2.5 came out, I really didn't think that wuwa would be able to top themselves and they'd be able to write anything better than that. But then 3.1 came out and I was so fucking wrong. I was so wrong about that. So you know what, maybe I will be wrong again. I'm still really excited to play the 3.2 after story and beyond. It seems like we'll be back on track with the central focus of this arc, especially after seeing the flavor text in Hiyuki's marketing. But it looks like she will be pivotal to the plot moving forward, and I am very excited for that. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say. How long was I recording? Holy shit, it's been 19 minutes. Yeah, I do not want this video to be any longer. Alright, so what I needed some like closing remarks for this video. Hiyuki waiting room.